How y'all doing today? It's your boy Jermaine from Eat Right Guys Nutrition and Fitness, back with another video. It's been a long time, man. I know I'm very inconsistent with making these videos, but I'm back to answer a question that I got in the email, and it was from this girl, and she is just graduating from high school, so she's planning on starting college in the fall, and she got a bunch of questions about the nutrition and dietetics program and what it's like to become a dietitian. And I think this is like a perfect time to start asking these questions before you even get to college. And I'm glad that you reached out to me, and hopefully this video can be helpful. So these are some of the questions that she asked. She said she wanted some general information about being a dietitian, such as the stress level, how much school it requires, does the schooling cost a lot of money, is it hard to get hired, what does a normal day of work look like, are the hours flexible, and if you personally enjoy doing what you do. All right, so we're gonna break them down one by one, starting off with the stress level. And I guess the answer to this, it depends on who you talk to. In my opinion, being a dietitian is not stressful at all. I don't see how it is stressful, especially when you compare it to other healthcare professionals, such as being a nurse or a nurse practitioner or a doctor or a physician's assistant, to where they have a whole bunch of responsibility, they have a huge workload, and they get blamed for a lot of stuff that we don't get blamed for. Being a dietitian, man, most of what we do is just education. We don't have to touch nobody. We don't have to get called in on weekends and things like that. The only time it can be stressful is if you have coworkers that may go on leave or go on vacation. And let's keep it real, this is a predominantly female occupation, so you're gonna have coworkers that go on maternity leave, and you may have more than one go on maternity leave at a time. So in periods like that, or in cases like that, you're gonna have an extra workload because you're gonna have to cover for their patients as well as your patients. And then sometimes you may even have an intern shadowing you at the same time. So you got a huge workload, and then at the same time you're teaching the intern and going over their work as well. And I guarantee they want you to do all this within 40-hour weeks. So most jobs will not allow you to get overtime. So you're gonna have to kind of scramble and do all that stuff within a short 8-hour work day, which can be stressful. But for the most part, it is not stressful at all. All right, so the next one is how much school does it require? So for you, it's gonna require about 6 to 7 years before you can become a dietitian, because in 2024, it's gonna be required for you to have a master's degree to sit for the RD exam. So it's gonna take you 4 years to get your bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics. Hopefully it takes you 4 years. And then after that, you have to get your master's degree. And hopefully by the time you get to that point, the future education model will be adopted in most universities and schools, to where the master's program is going to be coordinated with the dietetic internship. So in those 2 years that it takes you to get a master's degree, you'll probably be doing your internship at the same time. So then that's how it would take 6 years. But if you go the traditional route, to where you don't do like a school that does the future education model, then you're gonna have to do 4 years to get your bachelor's degree, 2 years to get your master's degree, and then you're gonna have to go through a separate internship that usually takes 9 to 12 months, and then pass the RD exam to become a dietitian. All right, so the next one is, does the schooling cost a lot of money? And so, yes, it does. And that's school in general. It doesn't even matter if you major in nutrition. If you major in anything, going to college is expensive, you know what I'm saying, as it is. But you have to do an internship, and then you have to do a master's degree program. And master's degree graduate school is more expensive than undergrad in terms of how much money it costs per credit. And then internships on top of that is gonna be a whole nother expense. And so if you're interested in that, I'll put a link down in the description. On my website, I actually 2 years ago, I pretty much researched every dietetic internship, and I just pretty much made a document of the cost of tuition. I'll link down in the description an article that I wrote, as well as a video that I made, pretty much detailing all the hidden expenses of a dietetic internship. So you can look at that information and you can kind of determine yourself to see how expensive it is. But yes, it is expensive. And I may make a video on how I pretty much became a dietitian without getting in any student loan debt. All right, so next one is it hard to get hired? And so this is a tough question, because I think it's hard to get hired anywhere unless you're a nurse, to where where your job is in such demand that it doesn't really matter. You can get hired anywhere. You know what I'm saying? It can be hard. But if you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, dietitians are gonna grow faster than average in terms of like employment in the next 10 or 20 years. I find that becoming a clinical dietitian is usually easy. It's usually easy to get those jobs because it's such a high turnover rate. And they usually hire entry-level dietitians more than other specialties. In terms of like renal or like a diabetes educator, you probably need a little more experience in order to get hired from there. One of the hardest specialties in dietetics to get hired in is sports nutrition. So if you're into that, I recommend that you get as much experience as you can through college. I know for a personal fact that it's hard to become a sports dietitian, because last year I probably applied to like 50 jobs to be a sports dietitian. That's regular jobs, internships, fellowships. I even pretty much started emailing a whole bunch of sports dietitians. I emailed them my application, and I only got a return phone call from 2 people, and I didn't even get those jobs. So it depends on what specialty you go in, but like clinical dietitian, you probably won't have a hard time finding a job. All right. And so what does a normal day of work look like? And so, like I say, this kind of depends on what area you are, but some of it is kind of the same. So most dietitians work as a clinical dietitian. So whenever you work in a hospital, you're going to be assigned a floor. So whether it be the cardiac floor, the rehab floor, the surgery, trauma, the ICU, you're going to be assigned floors, and you're going to cover any patient on those floors that are at nutritional risk. So you may have up to like 5 to 10 patients that you have to see a day. Like I said, it depends on the size of the hospitals. It depends on how many coworkers that you have, who is out on vacation, who's sick, who's out on maternity leave or whatever. And so what you do is you go to work in the morning, you look up all your floors, and you print out a list of the patients that you have to see. You see why you have to see them, whether it's for a nutritional education, the patient needs 2 feeding recs, the patient has been had NPO for 3 days, which means not eating anything by mouth, and then you have to go and do your nutritional assessments. And that's pretty much what you do for the day. An outpatient is similar to that. That's what I do now. I pretty much go in the morning, and I print out my schedule for the day, and I see what patient I have at 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30. I go look them up, and I see why am I seeing them, whether it's a follow-up or if it's a new admission, whether, you know what I'm saying, whether it's diabetes education or whatever. See all my patients, I chart on them, and I go home for the day. All right. And are the hours flexible? So for the most part, being a dietitian is flexible. 9 times out of 10, you will not have to work on the weekends. I think the only dietitians that work on the weekends are people that work in like food service management or clinical dietitians. And usually you pretty much rotate with your coworkers. So if it's 4 of y'all clinical dietitians in a hospital, you'll probably work 1 weekend every 4 weeks. Or if it's 8 of y'all, you probably just have to work 1 weekend every 8 weeks. And it's usually 40 hours a week, or if you're part-time, 32 hours a week, and maybe like 8 to 4:30. Now, if you're a renal dietitian, you actually have a lot more flexibility because you don't have like a concrete time in which you can come to the clinic. Like me personally, I'm an early bird, so I would get there early and I was able to leave early. But some people want to come in later and stay later because they don't like getting up in the morning. But I found that renal dietitians, that's the most flexible specialty in dietetics, hands down. All right, and the last question, um, do you personally enjoy doing what you do? So this is a good question. To be honest with you, I don't have the passion for nutrition that I used to have. I think I kind of got burned out from working, especially when I used to do consulting and things like that. I was pretty much dealing with nutrition all day long and dealing with my website, making this YouTube. No, making the YouTube videos wasn't that bad because I kind of did it on my own time, but it can kind of get frustrating. And I pretty much kind of switched to where I kind of do nutrition during the day. That's what I do at work. And then after I get off of work, I don't deal with nutrition at all. And some people may think, some people aren't like that. Some people are really passionate. Do I like doing what I do? Kind of. I'm good at it. But to be honest with you, I don't look forward to going to work in the morning. And I look forward to my weekends. I look forward to my days off. I never get to the point where I'm like, man, I can't wait to go into work. I can't wait to talk to these patients. I can't wait to do these diabetes educations. Maybe because I've been doing it for 7 years, I don't know. But if you're passionate about nutrition, definitely, you know what I'm saying, look into it more. It's a great career if you're interested in nutrition, especially if that's something that you like to learn about, something that you research on your own spare time. So hopefully this video helped you out, answer your questions. If you have any more, you can email me or send me a message on Instagram at Eat Right Guy. And if you're a nutrition student or a dietetic intern and you're concerned about passing the RD exam, feel free to join my Facebook group, RD Exam Prep. The link will be down in the description. This is where you can be part of a community that will answer any questions that you may have. Also, I have posted free notes, study guides, and practice exams. And there's also people in the group that offer tutoring services. And also, while you're at it, feel free to visit my Instagram page, Eat Right Guy, and you can visit my website, eatrightguy.com, where I have posted a variety of blogs on various nutrition and dietetics related topics.